Hey Barry, how you doing? You okay?
I'm very good, man. Very good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, buddy. Not bad at all. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure.
So just to say before we start, this is Barry Ashby, he's the Chief Operating Officer for Orangetheory here in the UK. And the purpose of today is to ask Barry some questions that add value to two main groups of people. The first one is all the operators who might be watching this, to give you hopefully some understanding about how someone with Barry's experience has dealt with some of the challenges we've all faced in the last year or so. It's also designed for the fitness professionals out there who are looking for maybe more information on Orangetheory itself, or to understand again how someone like Barry has dealt with the issues that we've all faced. So without further ado, Barry, I'll ask you the first question, if that's okay.
Sure.
So how has this time been for Orangetheory UK? What were some of the key challenges you faced, and what do you kind of place focus on during these times?
So, I mean, it's been a difficult time for all. I think, yeah, we're all understanding of that at the moment. So the key challenges for us have probably been similar to what the majority of people have found within our industry, just dependent on scale. I mean, it's been a little bit frustrating from an operator's point of view in regards to, I think, the lack of clarity and consistency for our industry. That's been key challenge number one when we look top down. It's been, very fragmented in the way the government have dealt with this as an industry. And if anything, at the very start of this, I think it's been an industry that was looked at with very little probably understanding or respect. So the challenges, I think, from top level down have been how we really change it, how we can kind of help drive the agenda of getting us back open. That was challenge number one in the beginning of lockdown one, and then obviously coming into two and the tier system. Challenges for us as a group have obviously been very similar to everybody else in regards to, we've had to look at every single spend, every single penny, every single thing that we do, and make sure that we've either set ourselves up for potential success in the future with renegotiations. We've had to look at how we drive the business going forward, how we keep the teams engaged has been so critical for us, and how the teams keep our members engaged. So, engagement from teams and members has been critical for us. And they were the areas that we paid particular focus from Orangetheory's UK, Southern UK's kind of viewpoint. And it was tough. But it was something that I think we had to drive. It was something that we needed to make sure that our members all felt that they had an outlet if they needed it, and for our teams to also feel that as well. We'd never wanted to go more than 2 or 3 days without contact with one of our members of staff, and cascade that down through our management teams, because it's vital in these times that we make sure that everybody is safe, well, and still trying to remain positive.
100%. Yeah, the engagement piece, I remember right from the word go and some of the early calls we made, that was one of the things a lot of businesses really focused on. I spoke to a guy called Justin Tams over in Australia, one of the early ones we did of this, and he talked a lot about that. Keeping engagement with your teams was so important, and it remains the same, doesn't it, all the way through?
Yeah, absolutely. Even still now, we go through each of these lockdown situations, and you kind of think, everybody's getting used to it now. But what one person felt, back in March is completely different to what they feel in November and different
100%.
to January. So we can never kind of be assuming everybody's understanding or okay with it.
Yeah, it's evolved so much, hasn't those needs have changed through lockdown 1, 2, and 3. Second question, a bit more about something more specifically, obviously, about OT. Obviously, we love recruiting for you guys, love working with your team. You've got some brilliant people in the business. We've done your classes, obviously we've been down quite a lot, so I was a member of Wandsworth for a long time. Can you tell us from your perspective, why work for OT? Why work for Orangetheory?
I think, Lawrence, we've known each other for a long time, and I've been in the industry for 20 odd years. And one of the things that made me, I think I'll look at it from an internal point of view first of all. Why did I want to come and work for Orangetheory?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm super passionate about fitness. I'm super passionate about the fitness industry. And one of the things that really struck me that, as I've gone through my own kind of personal growth and journey within the industry has been, I've always wanted to see something that was all inclusive. I didn't want it. I've always believed that there's something out there for everybody, and to try and make something all inclusive is really, really difficult. And the thing that blew me away about Orangetheory wasn't necessarily so much the brand or the programming, all those things. They were really impressive, and like you could see the growth and the opportunities that were happening in the US. But it was when I took my first Orangetheory class, when I was going through a process of kind of like understanding the business, and I walked into a session, and because it could be a very elitist environment in regards to the way the programming could be set up, or deemed to be kind of elitist. But because everybody's heart rate monitored and working to their own kind of heart rate zones, it's phenomenal how you can have every person have a level playing field. So when you look at a treadmill, a block of treadmills, and you've got a 16-year-old kind of college athlete who's 85% like maximum heart rate, and they're absolutely tanking it on full pelt. You've got somebody next to them who may be a mum returning from giving birth, who's 40 years old, and she's at 85% as well. Somebody next to him, it could be a granddad at 80 years old, he's at 85%. They're all doing something different, but they're all working to the same level, and that is phenomenal. Like it blew me away. So the all-inclusiveness really, really kind of appealed to me. And then why would anybody want to come and work for us? I think we're really trying to foster a culture of community. Now, I know that gets bandied around and talked a lot about in the industry, and everybody's trying to take that little piece of the pie just to make sure we improve communities, more so even now after this pandemic. And I'm sure we'll come on to it a little bit later on, like about how the industry's kind of evolved. But it's really, really critical for us at Orangetheory that we've got a kind of our core values that we try and live by, that everybody else does. But one of the ones that we always, and full well from our recruitment sessions, the one thing that we look for from people is we want somebody that's all about others. So in an interview process, and you've seen it happen, we could have some 20 people in a room, and they're all phenomenal kind of candidates. The moment we see one person spark something where they've seen that either somebody else isn't talking in the interview when we do a group task, or where somebody might need a bit of support, and they lean forward to do that, so they're sacrificing their own self in an interview process to help somebody else, that's the moment. So they're the people that we look for, and that's what our business is built on. It's a foundation of wanting to be there for either your colleague or a member, above all and over everything else that happens in your day-to-day life.
Love it. So to sum up, the all-inclusive nature of the product, the community you guys have, and the all about others point you just made there, those are the reasons to work for Orangetheory in your
100%.
as you say, I have seen it in action, and the people you have in your business think like that. Obviously, I know the guys at Wandsworth better than all the others, but you absolutely have that in your business. Coming back to more advice for maybe business owners or operators out there. So what advice would you give to them with everything still so uncertain? What advice would you give to operators and maybe fitness professionals in the fitness industry today?
Yeah, so I think for operators, it's going to be just take heart. That we're weathering a very, very difficult storm at the moment. We're in the middle, obviously, of a global pandemic and a health crisis. But from an industry perspective, and when we scratch below the surface, we all understand this, that our nation, if we're just going to look at our nation, have been in a health crisis for the last 20 years. And we're going forward, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And the cure to the health crisis that we have, I don't think is necessarily something that we can just pop a pill or put a plaster over to fix. Yeah. It's a movement-based and educational-based crisis that we're in, and that has a massive effect on people's ability to stave off lack of exercise related disease or lack of exercise related conditions. And I think it's super important that the other operators understand that it was a growth market prior to the pandemic. The pandemic has taught us something that, we need to be more about, the value of our health. Health is our wealth. I know it's a phrase that we're calling around a lot, but
yeah,
it's important now. And I think the focus on that is going to be tremendous. And I know there's a lot of focus that's being pushed through UK Active for this. I know that the government are mandating that, physical exercise is going to become something that's really pushed into the media off the back of this. So take heart. There is a silver lining coming. 100%. I can see the industry grow even further, but we really have to be focused on this being an industry that's shown in the correct light. I think we were never seen as that kind of addition to the NHS, and I think it's now being seen that we can support the NHS as much as anybody. So that's what I'd say to business owners. Take heart. If you can, renegotiate anything that you can at this point in time to get you through, from leases to taking up some of the government support that's been available. It's been phenomenal as an overall perspective. Look at every way and every measure that you can to solidify your business for the next 12 to 18 months, because off the back of that 18 to 36 months, I see that this is going to be a little bit of a boom, but we've got to get there first. The other thing that I would say to operators is, it was a very insular industry, I felt, prior to this, where every operator was trying to kind of hold on to their little piece of their special formula. And this pandemic has changed that. I've been on conversations and had multiple discussions with operators in different segments, in different areas, in different countries, through to speaking to people who are with competitors to what our Orangetheory brand is, and the collaboration has been amazing. So don't be afraid to reach out to other people. It was always an industry built on fitness people wanting to help others, and you can now see operators wanting to help each other, because we all need to be a part of getting through this together.
I completely and totally agree, particularly with that last point. I've seen it time and time again. I think the community of the industry has always been quite good, but the services, the processes have been quite insular, which I completely agree. So many people help each other out. I know so many of the leaders of the big businesses out there who are working with each other, doing it, and I completely agree. I think it's a great benefit of what's come, and should never be afraid to reach out and ask and have a conversation with and build those relationships. If anybody out there wants to be introduced to anybody through myself, I'm sure Barry, you're at mine as well, be introduced to people. Obviously we're here to do that for you guys as well. So last question, then we'll let you go, I promise. Has the fitness industry changed forever, in your opinion? And if so, in what ways specifically?
I wouldn't say it's changed forever. I think it's evolved, and I think that's been really critical. The rise of home fitness trends was coming anyway. It was inevitable. It was a growth market for the last 5 to 6 years. I mean, even going back to crikey, look back to the days of Beachbody, Insanity. These things are huge products that were out there 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So this isn't new. The home fitness market has always been a $1 billion industry. But it's evolving and it's changing to the point of fitness is now becoming more accessible. And again, that is phenomenal for our industry. The Instagram generation, whilst I know a lot of us see it with disdain in certain respects because it can portray a bad message at times, it's also the millennial generation coming through. Fitness is the cool thing to do now, and that was never the case 20 years ago. You were seen as an outsider if fitness was your thing. Now it's more deemed that you're an outsider if you're not into fitness or look after yourself, from that younger generation. So I think it's evolved. I think it's evolving in the right way. I think there's going to be opportunities for everybody to find something that they can engage with that keeps them active, which ultimately is the bottom line goal for us as fitness professionals from our own core values. So I think we are going to have huge amounts of choice in the market. I think we're going to see the market continue to increase. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, a 1,000 member studio goes to 1,500 member studio, or a 5,000 member gym goes to 7,000 members in a gym. I think we're just going to see lots more opportunities for some of the specialist areas to fragment out again, like we have seen with boutiques. I think we're going to see the rise of more home fitness, where there'll be more Peloton that will allow people to engage from home. And I think we might start to see a shift in consumer patterns in regards to how people consume fitness. So traditionally, we've had 3 daily peaks within a fitness industry: of pre-work, a lunchtime, and a after work kind of usage pattern. I think that's going to change now, because I do think that the way people work is going to change for good. I do think we'll see a lot more home working. I do think that will continue off the back of the pandemic. I think people will have more flexible working hours, and what comes with that is people will have their choice of when they want to be able to consume their fitness.
I completely agree. That just go through, hope you don't mind. So in terms of the development, in terms of it be evolved rather than changed, be much more accessible, have more choice. Amount of people actually use it would increase across the board, across different types of exercise, and the home exercise and digital exercise would increase. I think all of those points, I think I'll agree with completely. I think the growth in the Instagram side of things as well as a natural thing that's going to keep on growing. I think it's a very, very real part of our industry now. And more people will aspire to have a following in terms of their training that way, rather than going, okay, I'm now a PT. What I need to do now is go and get a job in a gym. I think a lot more people will see themselves as having the ability to grow their own brand through things like Instagram and putting regular content out there, albeit maybe for free. They'll get more following, make more revenue in other ways. So I think there's a huge growth in that sector as well, and I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I think just like the overall, and I kind of touched on it a couple of times in some of those, is like, I think it's really impressive that, you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, so we look back nearly a year ago, and we've seen our industry's been, it was definitely overlooked. You know, the fact that we were one of the last sectors to reopen in a health crisis is ludicrous, and you know, everybody from within our industry was flabbergasted by that.
Yeah.
And I think shows like the level of understanding and professionalism that was seen from the outside looking in. And I think that's very frustrating for us as an industry, because we understand like how professional we are and how more professional we're becoming. I think what's come out the back of it, especially with like the reopenings and the passion and the pride that everybody in this industry takes, to be able to see that we had one of the lowest COVID infection rates within an industry, shows the immense amount of professionalism that's in our industry, and we're only getting stronger and stronger. So I think, you know, to anybody out there that's listening that's been a part of that, like, congratulations to you guys. Like, you know, phenomenal work. This is where that kind of whole one industry approach is going to make us better, and I think, you know, we are going to become more and more professional and seen that way as we go through the next 5 to 10 years. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, I completely agree. But thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Some amazing bits of information that absolutely, hopefully, will appeal to the types of people I said to you before: operators looking to make their business better and learn and do things better going forward, and industry professionals maybe learn a little bit more about Orangetheory as well. So thank you. If anybody has any questions about any of the points that have been raised, you want to ask perhaps myself or Barry directly, do feel free to reach out. You can find us on LinkedIn, and there'll be obviously some details as part of this post as well. So any questions whatsoever, please reach out. But thank you so much for your time, Barry.
No problem. Thanks, Lawrence.
Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.